In this video series, I'm going to show you how you can convert an HTML-based site into a WordPress site. Now, the reason you would want to do that is because WordPress offers a lot of advantages over simple HTML. Your HTML site might be well made, however, it is static, so it's hard to make changes to it. Also, with WordPress, you get advanced security features that keep on getting updated. And it's easy to add other functionality to it using plugins. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a WordPress site and we're going to emulate a sales page that I have. Now, I'm using a sales page because I happen to have one handy, but the same process would work for any site. You would just take each page and create a WordPress page and then add the content inside it. Okay, so here's what the site looks like that we are going to convert. Okay, so this is a simple sales page, and when we're done, we're going to have something that looks similar to this, almost exactly the same. There will be some differences, but we will get a site that looks pretty much like this. Okay, so in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to be installing WordPress. That's all we're going to do in the next video. So if you already know how to install WordPress, you can go straight to video 3. In this video, we're going to be installing WordPress on our server. If you already know how to install WordPress, then you can skip this video and go straight to video 3. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do a manual WordPress install from WordPress.org rather than using an automated installer. Good thing about an automated installer, of course, is that it's just a few clicks, but the bad thing about it is that it installs some other stuff along with it, and then you have to use that installer program to do the updates. Okay, so I like to just use a manual install. So over to WordPress.org, you want to download the most recent version, and we're just going to download the zip file. Let's save that. Okay, so I've got it into my working folder. In my working folder, I have my HTML site, and here's WordPress. So let's unzip this. So you can just use extract all if you're on a Windows machine, or you can use 7-zip. 7-zip's a free program that I like to use, and you can download that for free if you want to use that. The only reason I use it is because it's quite a bit faster to extract the files using this. Okay, so let's extract. Now while we're here, or while it's doing this, what we're going to do is we're going to go over and create our database. WordPress, of course, is database driven, so you're going to want to go and create a database for it in your control panel or whatever panel you use to control your site. So you want to go into your control panel and find databases. And if you have a MySQL database wizard, use this because it's the easiest thing to do. Otherwise, you have to go to your MySQL databases, create a database, and create a username. So let's go into here. And let's create a database. So I'm going to call this my site. Next step. And I'm going to call the username the same thing. Password, we'll use the password generator because it'll create a nice strong password for us. So copy this into your clipboard and just say that I've copied it somewhere safe and use password. And we'll create the user. And then you want to give it all privileges here. And then next step. Okay, so it's been created. Now what we want to do is open a notepad session to copy this all down. Okay, so we already have the password in our clipboard. So let's just paste it in here. And now let's go and just copy the line off of our install screen here. So just copy this line. It contains both the username and the database. So we can just copy that right here. Okay, so we have everything we need there. Okay, so at this point, we have our files all unzipped here. And we're ready to upload WordPress, and we have our database created. So let's go and upload this. Now to do that, you need a FTP client. I like to use one called FileZilla, and you can download that for free. Just do a search. Okay, when you install and open up FileZilla, you see something like this. On the left-hand side, this is your computer. On the right-hand side, this will be your server. So all you need to do is connect up to your server. So in your host name here, you can put your domain name, your username for your hosting account, and your password, and that'll connect you up. There's also a site manager where you can go into the site manager, key in your site manager, key in your name of your domain, your username and your password, and save that in there. This is a good thing to do because you can have multiple sites in here and it makes it easier to connect up. Okay, so go ahead and connect up to your site. Okay, so here it is. Now I'm going to create a directory to put my site in. So I'm just going to do create directory and my site. And then we're going to upload all the files into here. Now, even though we're uploading everything into my site, we can have it in the root, the directory or the main site in the root, and have the files in my site. So once we have our site looking the way we want, we can move it to our root directory, which our main site is probably in. And if it's in a directory, then we can change, we can rename, we can put it in a directory as well, just so everything matches up at the end. Okay, so we need to go into this WordPress and find all the files, and then we're going to select all of these, Control A, upload these into our working folder. Okay, so we'll let those upload. Okay, so everything's uploaded. You just want to check down here, make sure you didn't have any failed transfers, so we know that everything has uploaded fine. Okay, so now what we can do is we just need to go to blank screen here. We just need to key in the location of our WordPress install, so your domain/folder name. Okay, and then hit enter, and it'll bring up the installer. So pick your language. Okay, so it's telling us we need our database name, database username, password, database host, didn't go over that, and table prefix. Okay, so let's continue here. Now about the database host, let me just explain that. Localhost a lot of times is right, but not always. So what you want to do is go to phpMyAdmin in your control panel, which is right in with your databases here, phpMyAdmin. Okay, and then right up at the top here is our host name. So right here it says localhost. So whatever it says here, that's what needs to go in that spot. Okay, so that happens to be right in this case. So let's go to our notepad session here. Now we named both the database and the username the same. As long as the length wasn't too long, they will stay the same, but if the length is too long for the username, it's going to truncate it. So my site and my site. So we can put that in both the database name and the username. Okay, password, back to our notepad. Okay, localhost is correct in this case. And then our table prefix, you're going to want to change this. There are automated hacking programs out there that look for certain things in WordPress. One of them is the use of admin as a username, and the other one is looking for WP inside databases. So you want to change both those things, and we're going to get to the admin in a sec. So just call this something else. It doesn't matter what, something that makes sense. So I call this my site, so I'll call this MS. Now the reason this whole thing is here is so you can put multiple instances of WordPress into a single database. So if you have a shortage of databases on your server package, then what you can do is just make one database for WordPress and then put every single install in that one database, just differentiate them with the table prefix. Okay, so let's submit that. And then go and run the install. Okay, so here is where we start putting in our information. Now we can put in generic information right here at the beginning, or we could go and get the information off our site. I'm just going to put in some generic information and we'll go change this later. So my site, okay, username. Now this is where I say don't call it admin. So I'm going to call it anything else. Doesn't matter. Whatever username and password you want to use it here. Make sure you use a secure password though. Again, you want to prevent hacking at its root by choosing a strong password and a username other than admin. So I'm going to call this my site admin. Okay, and then password, and then down here, your email address and allow search engines. So you can turn this off while you're designing it if you want and turn it on later, or just leave it on. Okay, so now we're going to log in. And there we go. WordPress has now been installed. So in the next video, we're going to get started creating our site. All right, in this video, we're going to start converting our site from our HTML site to our WordPress site. Now, WordPress is divided into posts and pages. So we were going to be using pages for our WordPress install. Now, if we go look at our site right now, it's using the default theme and it's got some junk in it. So what we want to do is go back into the dashboard and then we're going to get rid of the junk. Okay, so just go to posts and all posts. And then we're just going to trash the page that's in here. Okay, and then same with pages, go to pages and all pages. And then we're going to trash the page that's in here. Okay, now, next, let's go down to settings and general. And this is where we can put in the description for our site. Now, let's bring up our working site here. And if we open this, let's do an open with. Actually, we can open it with a web editor. Let's do that. If you have your favorite web editor, you can open it with that. If you don't have one, you can download something called Composer, Kompozer. Just do a search for it. It's free. Okay, so here's what Composer looks like. I'm just going to open the demo page we're using here, or our HTML page. Okay, so here's the title here. So wherever you find that in your web editor, but under format, we can find page title and description. So let's copy this. And then let's go back to WordPress here and paste it in here. Now the tagline, you could use the same thing. You could use the description or you can leave it blank. I'm going to put the description in there. You can also Well, the description happens to be the same on this website. I'm just going to blank it out. Now we're going to be putting in a search engine plugin, and then we can put in the description for the home page in there. Okay, now these we can leave alone, and this is what I was telling you earlier. If you need to move the website to the root or another folder, you just need to have the root in here or the folder in here, and then you just move a couple files into there, and that's it. Right? You just save this, and then it'll work in any directory. Okay, so we're done here. Okay, now let's go to discussion. Now it's likely that in your HTML website you didn't have discussion. If you did, you can leave this on, okay? But I'm going to turn this all off here. So we're not allowing any discussions or any notifications here. Okay, so there we go. We're going to come back to some of these a little later. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is go to Appearance and Themes. Now you can use any theme that you think works for you. I'm going to be using one called 2011, and the reason I'm using that is it has a similar layout to the sales page that I'm going to be converting. Now you can use any theme you want, but I suggest using the WordPress responsive theme, so 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and even 2010 are all responsive, meaning that they work great on mobile devices because they adjust their sizes. Okay, so I'm going to add new, and then I'm going to go to popular, and then I'm going to download 2011. Okay, so this is 2011 here. If you don't see it here, you can just do a search for 2011. We're going to install, and then we're going to activate. Okay, so at this point, we have sort of the guts of the thing set up, and now what we're going to do is start adding our content. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is go into Editor, and what we're going to want to do is add any of the custom CSS into the style sheet. Now, don't worry about this too much. Don't get too concerned about it, because we are going to just be adding anything that's custom in our style sheet to the bottom here. Now, I should mention that we are now changing a WordPress theme. And if you update the theme, you're going to lose all your changes. So either do not update the theme or use a WordPress child theme for your modifications. We're not going to go over WordPress child theme. It's outside of the scope of this video series. So just make sure you do not update the theme, and then you'll be okay. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to our editor, and then we're going to go over and we're going to find the CSS. Okay, so we have the CSS editor here. Now, what we're going to want to do is probably, instead of doing it from here, let's go over to the source. And then the CSS is always at the top. So what we're going to do is find where the CSS or style sheet starts. So you'll see here our style sheet. It's a little bit jumbled here. Style. So it starts here, and then it goes down to where we have a slash style, which is right there. Okay, and then we're going to copy that, and we're going to come back over here, and we're going to add it right at the bottom. Okay, and then we're going to update. Okay, so the first thing you want to do now is go and see if we get any errors when we go to the page. Okay, so everything is fine. And that's just in case you have something that is not working. You know, if you brought in some CSS that doesn't play well with what's in here, and that's very unlikely. Okay, so we now have the CSS in there. The next thing we want to do is if we go to our site here, we have an images directory. So what we want to do is upload the images into the image directory. So let's open up FileZilla again. Okay, and we're going to back up in here because we're inside the WordPress. So we just want to go back to our working directory. And then we want to upload the images inside the HTML site. So we want to upload the images here. Okay, so all our images are up now. All right, now what we're going to do is go to Pages and Add New. So this is going to be your home page. So what we want to do in the title is put the title from our existing web page in there. Okay, so that's going to be this first bit here. Oops, I changed that somehow. So we just want to copy this. And then we're going to paste it in here. Now, this is left aligned, so you can use an HTML tag like this, so center, and then put your text between there like so. And also, this isn't capitalized. There's some HTML within the style sheet that's doing this, and it may not work while it's in this title tag here. So we'll just capitalize this. Okay, there we go. Now, let's go back over to our website here. So let's copy this in section by section. So we're going to copy this part. We're not going to copy the image in right now. We're going to do that separately. So let's copy that. Go back to here. Make sure you're in visual. You should be. And let's paste this. Now, let's center this. You can use this one here. That opens up the kitchen sink and gives you all of this stuff here. All right, now let's do a preview. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to be bringing it in a little bit at a time. Now don't worry about this up here right now. Let's just go down to this part. Okay, so that's looking okay so far. Okay, so let's continue. And then back to here. So we'll go to the next part. Now you'll see that there is some PHP here, and what that's doing is bringing in the date. We're going to skip that because it's likely we can use a plugin to bring that in. So we'll copy this and then back to here. Okay, and then we'll paste this in here. All right, now back over here. And then we're going to copy, undo that. I changed it. So we want to copy everything from here to just before the first table. So this is a table here, so let's just copy this. Okay, let's do a preview. Okay, so that all looks correct so far. Okay, so let's go back here. Now what I want to do is start bringing in the actual HTML for the rest of this down here. Okay, so from there all the way down to the end of this table. And that's because we now have some special formatting that we're going to want to bring in. Okay, so I'm going to put my mouse here and select this. And then if I go over to source, it should bring me there. So now this is a little hard to read in this editor here. Because it's bringing in, it's just awkward to read because the editor makes kind of a mess of the HTML. So what we're going to do, we need to find where this starts. So in this video series, I will show you all you need to know. Let's just select that and try that again. See if it takes us to the right spot. Okay, so you'll see that it starts here. Okay, so I'm going to grab this span style, and then I'm just going to copy everything right down to near the bottom. Okay, so it is really ugly, this code here. So get your copy of this video. So we're going to copy right to the end of this table. Like right to there. So right before the slash body tag. And then we're going to do copy. Now we need to go back to here. Now we need to switch this to text because now we're putting in HTML. So we're right at the end of this. So we're going to paste this in here. Now let's go and look at the source now, or visual. And let's preview. Okay, so it's brought in this stuff for us here. That's a little off, and we don't want this. So let's click on that. Well, no, we're in the preview here. So we need to go and down here, click on this and get rid of that. We don't want that in there. Okay, and let's click publish here. Okay, so we have our page here now. We can go through and we can tweak this a little more. But let's go and set this to our home page now. So let's go down to settings, and then we want to go to reading. Okay, and then we want a static page, and then we want to pick our home page. Okay, so let's save. Now let's go have a look. Visit the site. Okay, so we have some work to do here. Obviously, but we get the idea. We're getting there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the style of this so it all looks correct. We'll do that in the next video.